What's up, tennis fans? Sleepy Picks here. We're going to go through our Week 3 fantasy picks. I'm going to go through some of the players, give you some do's and don'ts here for it, and at the end, I'll show you my fantasy team for this week. Let's get started. Here's a look at my team for Week 2, and we had a decent run here. Obviously, having Carlos in the bonus ball really didn't help. He withdrew in the round of 16 against Mahach. Zverev with that big upset loss to Cobolli in the semis. We did have Fils, who ended up winning the tournament, and I was pretty confident that it was going to be a Fils Alcaraz final. Unfortunately, Alcaraz not able to get there. Cerundolo and Fonseca both losing in the quarterfinals, and Griekspoor losing in the round of 32. And honestly, this is probably it for having Griekspoor on the team. I just haven't seen anything great from him, and that draw that he had was just tailor-made for him to make it at least to the quarterfinals, and he wasn't even able to do that. So we will be removing him from the team shortly. Let's take a look at some prospects for Week 3. All right, so here's a list of all the players with their coin values, and I'm going to try to go through this draw pretty quickly. I'm going to chapter each of the players out as we kind of talk about them, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to find. This is my second recording of this, because the first one I did was 30 minutes long, and I was like, that is just too long to be covering this fantasy stuff. But obviously, there's a lot I have to say, so I'll try to get through everything pretty quickly. We got Sinner at the top of the draw. He's going to get through to the round of 16. He's got Diallo, China, a qualifier. There's not really much there. Then he would play in the round of 16, the winner of Tommy Paul and Cam Norrie, maybe Mahach, Comasana, Taranti, Bautista Agut. That's a tricky draw there for those guys. I think Tommy Paul's going to get out of that. Obviously, he's the highest seed, but he's been playing some good clay court tennis, won Houston, so has that momentum kind of coming into this match. I know it was a few weeks ago, I guess more than a few weeks ago, but Tommy Paul at 8, maybe it's worth getting him, but I don't think he goes past Sinner. So I just think, like, what you're looking at is, if you want to pick Tommy Paul, that's good if you're okay with just getting round to 16 points. I don't think he's going to be able to make it past Sinner. I think he might struggle, Tommy Paul, with Taranti in the second round as well. And he would have a tricky match if he plays Comasana, Mahach, or Norrie as well. So it's not a guarantee that he's going to get out there. I think he will, but I don't think he gets past Sinner. I don't think any of those guys get past Sinner. So maybe look past picking some of those guys, because you really want to look at guys that you feel like could potentially make a quarterfinal at the very least, and get you some points there. The next part of this quarter, the Sinner quarter, is Rublev, and he plays the winner of Kopchiva and Zhang. And we really gotta talk about what kind of Rublev are we gonna get here. We haven't seen a lot of consistency from Andrey Rublev. Obviously, being able to make it out to the Barcelona finals, didn't play Fils that tough. Fils dominated that match, and honestly, it was the nerves that kind of got in the way a little bit towards the end of the match. But Rublev had a chance to serve that second set out and win it, especially after Fils had match points, served for the match, gets broken, and Rublev breaks again to go up and serve for the set, but gets broken to get it to the breaker and then loses in the breaker. That's just, to me, he's got to do better than that. He's got to be able to win that set at the very least. So I'm a little bit disappointed there from Rublev. I think Rinderknech takes him out. Rinderknech plays the winner of Sonego and a qualifier, and Sonego, we know, is coming back from injury, so I think that's going to be a good match for Rinderknech. We know Rinderknech is going to be able to rush Sonego with that serve and volley style, and he's going to do the exact same thing against Rublev. I mean, Rublev at 13 coins is really not worth it. Rinderknech at 7, I feel like might be worth a stab. Again, he's going to get out and play potentially Fonseca again for the third straight tournament, right? Or Demonar, maybe Hadar. I feel like Rinderknech has maybe like a 40% chance of beating one of those guys. So there might be some value in taking him at 7. Then we got that Demonar and Fonseca part of the draw, and the winner here is going to play probably Rinderknech or Rublev. Jodar is floating around in this draw here, though he got a wild card in. He plays De Jong first round, and he's going to get through De Jong pretty handily, I think. Jodar handed his first loss on the clay by Arthur Fils, a very tough 3-set match in Barcelona. I think he's going to match up pretty well against Demonar. We talk about the guys that really bother Jodar, the ones that can match him in like pace with the ground strokes and that can kind of move him and rush him a little bit more. That could be a tricky matchup for him, but not really from Demonar. Demonar can take the ball early, but the clay really just gives Jodar so much time. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jodar gets out and plays Fonseca there in the third round. And I think there's a lot of value on Fonseca because I think he can get through Jodar there. He matches up very well with him, with the offense, with the ability to deflect a lot of those power shots, and the ability to add even more power on those shots. So Fonseca at 5 coins, I think, is an absolute steal. He's going to come out there, and I think he can beat. Rinderknech, he's going to beat. If he plays Rublev, I think he wins that one too. I think this is going to be Fonseca out there in the quarters against Sinner. And obviously, guys, yes, those are the two guys that I have on my team. So maybe in the back of my mind, I'm trying to rationalize both of them coming out. But I'm really happy with this pick here, having those two guys, because I think to me, that's a pretty high percentage that we're going to see both those guys in the quarters. For sure, we're going to have Sinner. The next quarter starts with Ben Shelton. He plays the winner of Collignon and Berrettini. And guys, I would stay away from Ben Shelton. I think taking him last week for Munich, I think, was a smart idea, but 24 coins for him to get out and maybe make a semi, I think that would make it worth it. The 24, I don't see that happening here in Madrid. He could lose to Collignon or Berrettini in the first round. Then he would have to play Etcheverry or Offner or Qualifier. This is a tricky draw with a lot of clay quarters in the draw. Collignon playing great tennis, winning a challenger. He's got a lot of confidence coming into this match here. If he can take out Berrettini, he's definitely going to give Shelton a run for his money. Etcheverry, we know, able to win in Rio. He's got a lot of talent on the clay, and he's got a lot of confidence as well. Went 3 sets with Alcaraz as well on the clay in Monte Carlo, so he could also give Shelton some fits too. And Etcheverry likes to return very deep too, so we might see him. I'm just thinking about that Borges underhand serve, because Etcheverry returns so deep, but I think Etcheverry is going to be able to get a lot of the Shelton serves back in play and really make him play. So I don't know if I really see Shelton even getting out to that round of 16 match. I think I would pick Etcheverry to get through there. Whoever comes through, I think, is losing to either Fils or Vacherot in the bottom. And guys, we got to keep an eye on Arthur Fils. Obviously, he was able to win Barcelona. That's a great win for him, but how is the body going to be doing for Arthur Fils here? We remember last year he made a couple of deep runs right around this time, and then the body just gave out at the French Open. He had to withdraw, giving Rublev the win there, I believe. So definitely got to keep an eye on Arthur Fils to see how he's doing. If he's able to make quick work of Buse or Mannarino, I think he can beat Vacherot. He definitely has a game to kind of dictate against Vacherot and bully him with that forehand. But if he shows up and he's making a lot of errors, that's going to be Vacherot's match. And honestly, guys, I like the confidence that Vacherot has. He plays the winner of Brooksby and Nava. He's going to get through that. I like the confidence that we have from Vacherot. I'm curious to see if Fils is going to be able to get out of here, but I kind of lean towards Vacherot to get out and get to this quarterfinal here against either Etcheverry or Shelton. And then in the bottom part, and this is kind of my guy that's going to make it out here to the semis, is Musetti. I think he's got a great draw, playing Hurkacz and a qualifier for the second round. Then Griekspoor, Jumer, and Bellucci. Jumer's probably the biggest threat there, but we know Musetti's going to be able to own him. So that gets him out to the round of 16. Then he plays either Lehecka, Mickelson, maybe Tabilo. I think it's probably going to be Tabilo. Guys, be careful taking Lehecka. Lehechka's at 11 coins right now. He could potentially have a second round rematch against Tabilo. And that was a match where Tabilo had opportunities to win against Lehecka. Does he make the same mistakes twice? Probably not. I think he's going to be able to notch the win against Lehecka and get out there. And whoever wins that match, so Lehecka Tabilo, is going to win the Mickelson against Mickelson, Strufer, Mueller. So that's a round of 16. So we'll say Tabilo out to the round of 16 to play Musetti. And Musetti coming in at he's 17 coins now. So for me, I think there's a little bit of value there. If you can't get Sinner, or maybe you want to do an alternative other than Sinner, I mean, 40 coins is a lot. And even Zverev at 33 coins, we'll talk about his draw in a second, that's a lot as well. But if you feel like you want to kind of hedge yourself out, maybe get a few guys that aren't in the Sinner quarter, maybe Musetti is a good pick, because I think he's going to make it out to the semis here. So he would play, for me, he would play Vacherot in the quarters, and that would be a rematch of that Monte Carlo first round. So you got Vacherot 8 coins, Musetti 17 coins. Potentially it could be Fees, who is at 6 coins. Wow, what a steal for Arthur Fees to get Arthur Fees. So I don't know. I would pick a few of those guys, because I think you have a good chance of maybe getting a semifinalist out of Fees, Vacherot, or Musetti. I don't think Shelton's going to be able to make it out there. So that would leave us with a semi of Sinner and Musetti. Looking at the bottom half of the draw, we'll start from the top here. We got Bublik, who would play Tsitsipas or qualifier. Bublik's probably going to get through there. This quarter is the quarter of opportunity for me, guys. There is anybody who gets hot this week is going to make it out here. This is like the Vacherot quarter. Bublik playing Mute to get to the round of 16. I think it's going to be Bublik out to the round of 16. He hasn't been playing the best, but we know he has some solid clay court wins. Then you got Fokina, who would play the winner of Carreño Busta and Fucsovics. Probably going to be Fokina there. Casper Ruud has been playing very well, and he does like this surface, winning last year in 3 sets over Draper. So keep that in mind when you're picking here. I think he's got some comfort in Madrid. So I'm going to pick Casper Ruud to get out to the quarterfinals. He's probably going to play Bublik in the round of 16, and he'll be able to win that in straight sets probably. Then on the bottom half of this quarter, you have Cerundolo, who takes on Hanfmann and Giron. Remember that Francisco Cerundolo and Hanfmann match, that's going to be a very tricky match for Cerundolo there. So just be careful if I think Hanfmann's going to get through that one, because Giron hasn't played a clay court match. So just be careful there for Hanfmann. He could beat Cerundolo there. That's Cerundolo's on my team. That's one that I'm a little bit scared about, a little bit nervous. Then we got Altmaier and Juan Manuel Cerundolo and Darderi. I mean, Darderi, just a tricky draw for him. Playing either Juan Manuel Cerundolo, who beat him in Rio, or Altmaier, who's been playing some pretty solid clay court tennis. I don't know if Darderi even gets through this second round match. If he does, he plays Cerundolo, and I don't think he gets through that one. We'll put Cerundolo into the round of 16, and he will play Nakashima, Van de Zandschulp, Blockx, qualifier Biaser, Felix. And guys, I might surprise you, but I think this is going to be Blockx out here. And I think Blockx is 2, maybe 2 coins. That's a steal. I would take Blockx for sure, because I think he beats Bodic. We know Nakashima doesn't have that clay court prowess. He doesn't move that well on the clay. Nakashima right now is at 5 coins. I don't even think that's worth it. I think Blockx is going to be able to expose Nakashima there. Then we have Felix, who absolutely, guys, do not take Felix for 27 coins. That would be insane. I don't think he's worth the 27. If he was at like if he was below 20, I would say maybe. Given that this draw is kind of wide open for somebody to come out to a semi, but to put 27 coins on that, I mean, you might as well just throw away 6 more and get Zverev. I think Blockx can beat Felix. I think he can really push him on the clay. We know Blockx, his movement is much more comfortable on the clay than Felix's is. So I don't know. That's a tricky matchup, but I'm gonna go with Blockx coming out to that round of 16 and playing Cerundolo, and then I think Cerundolo is gonna be able to get out there to the quarterfinals. I believe he was a quarterfinalist last year as well, so we know Cerundolo does like this surface a lot. So we would have Cerundolo taking on Casper Ruud, and guys, that's a like talk about opportunities. Highest seeds it would be Felix against Bublik in that quarter. I don't think that's gonna happen. But even if it's like Bublik and Cerundolo, a lot of opportunity for somebody to make a semi here, guys. So I think if you're looking for a quarter of the draw, this is the draw where you want to pick someone. Like you could get Cerundolo, you could get Casper Ruud, Casper Ruud at 10 coins. That's a good one. You could get Bublik. Bublik a little bit more expensive at 14, and given the way that he's playing, that's always very risky. You could get Fokina at 7 to potentially make it out there, maybe get an upset over Casper. But definitely look out for that draw, guys. That draw is pretty open. I love that I didn't even say Darderi. I just wouldn't risk it with Darderi. And it's funny because a year ago you would say, oh, for sure, Darderi at 7 seems like a steal. Now I'm like, I think that's almost overvalued. um, and then the final quarter is Zverev's quarter. Let's start at the top. We got Medvedev, who would play the winner of Marigin and Quinn. Medvedev's probably going to come out there. Remember, Medvedev was able to make a quarterfinal, I believe, last year, and I think he made it in 2025 and 2024. So some opportunity there for Medvedev. Maybe he does like this surface a little bit more, and he's trying to get that taste of that Berrettini 6-0, 6-0 loss out of his mouth. So he's definitely going to try to do a little bit better here. He's got a nice draw too. Marigin would be probably the toughest guy, and then you got Shapo. I think Medvedev's going to be able to come through that one. Then you have Lerner, Tien, and Cobolli floating around down here, and Cobolli's got a tricky draw, unfortunately. I think Cobolli's definitely hoping for Monfils to beat Carabelli because Monfils hasn't won back-to-back matches, and that would be a nice kind of like tune-up for Cobolli to get used to these courts and kind of get back into the rhythm. But we haven't seen Cobolli perform very well in back-to-back tournaments. You remember he won Acapulco and then comes out in Indian Wells and he's like all taped up. The body doesn't look like it's 100% healthy. He's able to take out Kecmanovic, but then loses in 2 easy sets to Tiafoe, who he had beaten the week before. So I would be careful with taking Cobolli here. You have him at 12. I think that's a little bit too much here, given the fact that we haven't seen him perform yet in back-to-back tournaments. Carabelli would be a tough customer. Tien would also be a tough customer. But again, Lerner Tien hasn't played a match on the clay, so we don't know what to expect here. Strangely enough, guys, I keep telling you not to take Cobolli. I just think the value isn't there. If Cobolli was like 9 coins, I would say for sure take Cobolli. But at 12, I think you're really pushing it, and you're really asking for him to make it out to a quarterfinal to kind of make it worth it for you. I'm gonna take him to get out to the quarters, because I think he will. This is a very interesting draw. If Cobolli falls short, this is gonna be a wide open quarter, for these guys. I love this draw for Zverev, guys. I really do. Especially valued at 33. If you got to pick between Sinner and Zverev. Well, obviously, I think you pick Sinner because he's going to win. But if you have a chance to pick Zverev up, on your team as well, I think there's a lot of value there. I think he gets out to, I don't know if it's the final. I think at the very least he's making it out to the semis. So in Zverev's half, you got Kachanov, who plays Landaluce and Walton. And guys, this is my underdog of the week is going to be Martin Landaluce. 2 coins he's worth. He's not even on this list here because he's so far down. But I think he beats Adam Walton, who is not comfortable on the clay at all. And then he's going to beat Kachanov, who we have not seen the best on clay. So that brings him out to the 3rd round, which to me, for 2 coins, I'm already hitting my value. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Then he plays the winner of Popper and a qualifier Mensik, and I think he can win that match too. You're talking about a guy, he's going to have the crowd support as well, the home crowd. So I think he gets through that. Mensik, remember, pulled out last minute in Monte Carlo, so we don't know what his health is looking like here. Hasn't played since. So kind of curious what we're going to get there, but I'm going to trust Landaluce to get through to the round of 16 at the very least and play Zverev. And I know, guys, I had said earlier, like, maybe there's a lot of value for Zverev. I think if he's able to get through, his first couple of matches might be tricky for him. But then I think if he plays someone like Landaluce or Cobolli, I think he's going to get through to the semis. So like his potential round of 16 and quarterfinal are easier than his first 2 rounds. Second round, he's going to play Novoni, the Bucharest winner. That's a little bit tricky, in my opinion, for coming for Zverev here. I do feel like he's going to get through that. It's probably going to be 2 tough sets. But then he would play, I think it's going to be Atman. I like the way that Atman's been playing on the clay. I've been kind of impressed with that, especially given, like, I just thought this guy was a hard quarter, but seeing him step around and hit the ball, hit his forehand, his lefty forehand on the clay, I think he's going to be able to take care of Kecmanovic, who hasn't been playing well at all, hasn't gotten a win on the clay yet, I don't think. And I think then in the battle of the 2 Frenchmen, he's going to beat Humbert. And then I think he'll pose some issues for Zverev. Zverev's got to be on his at least his A- game to beat Terence Atman. And then Zverev will come through and play Landaluce. That could be also a tricky matchup. And then Zverev's got to come through and get that rematch with Cobolli or play Medvedev. I think it's going to be Zverev here in the semis, in my opinion. And I think it'll be Zverev playing probably Casper Ruud in the semis. And I think we're going to see Zverev make it out to the finals. I think he's due for a final. Like he's got to get right here. We had a couple of silly loss. Obviously the Sinner loss is not a bad one, for Zverev. Sinner playing at a very high level. But the Cobolli loss was definitely not acceptable. I mean, he's got to be able to do a little bit better than that. So I think Zverev's going to get out to the finals here. He'll play Sinner, and he'll lose again in straights. And I think here it'll be a Sinner and maybe a Vacherot. God, it can't be Vacherot again in the semis. I'm sorry. It'll be Sinner and Musetti. Sinner and Musetti for the top semifinal. Sinner will be able to beat Musetti there, and then Sinner's going to win this tournament. I think you got good chances with. I think Musetti, there's so much value there, guys. Like I would honestly, I wish I had more trades. I'd probably trade him for Zverev and then get a few more higher quality guys, but I'm not going to be able to do that. Let's take a look at my team now that I built for this coming week. And guys, I'll get a little bit better with trying to break these down. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it because everybody seems different. So I want to give you some analysis on the players while not really focusing on my team, but showing you kind of how I came to my team. But I'll get a little bit better. Maybe I'll do like a highlight of each like player or something like that. Everything's going to be chaptered out though for the players here. I just felt like I was just kind of rambling for the last 20 minutes. But look, this is my team for this week, and I'm kind of happy with what I have. I talked about how I think Landaluce is going to make the round of 16. Maybe he upsets Zverev, so that's kind of like my hedge there. If he's able to get out there and he gets hot and beats Zverev, then I have him there floating around getting to a quarterfinal. That's huge. I think Zverev, though, is going to be able to make the finals of this tournament. I think he's got to be able to turn it on and get right here. Sinner, I think, is going to win this. I would be surprised if anybody else wins this tournament. I mean, it would really take something catastrophic for Sinner not to, at the very least, make the finals of this tournament. And we know how good he is in finals. Fils, Cerundolo, and Fonseca, I feel like all three of these guys can make it out to the quarterfinals. So I'm just a little bit worried about the Fils body. Is it going to be able to hold up? But if he gets that forehand going, it is lethal on any surface. It doesn't matter where you are. So I'm going to pick him to get there. That's why I didn't switch him out. And remember, guys, I only had 2 switches, and I had to get Carlos out of there because he's injured and not playing in Madrid. And then I told you guys before I was getting rid of Greek Sport no matter what. So I got rid of him and put Landaluce in, who I really like as a good pick here. Um, it was either him or Blockx. Maybe I could have found a way to get Blockx on there, but yeah. So this is my team. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna next link here, guys. I'm gonna show you will be our league. So definitely look to join us and share your teams and share your picks and who you think is gonna make a deep run in this tournament. Would love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, share the video, and join our league. That is the code to join the Sleepy League. Just playing for bragging rights right now, but it would be great to see a few more competitors in there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.